Howdy, neighbors. It's Sako Toomey, also known as Cass Voigt, and today is a special day. Today is our pre-order party for Flambeau, which is book 3 of the Metaphysical Chronicles series. Um, I wanted to say hello to Barrett,
Hi,
who couldn't wait for this, apparently.
Barrett.
Devin, which means it's an actual bona fide stream. Uh,
Official author tube.
Christina, my favorite mod, and Alexis.
Ali
Yeah.
Alexis.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of fun stuff, like it basically in the can, waiting to show you guys. It's going to be super amazing. And hi, Maya.
Hi, Maya. I am
Woo.
so excited. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I have been dancing and, super stressed, of course, but also
Yeah.
just dancing and excited and telling absolutely everyone. So I think the third thing out of my mouth yesterday at Pride, because it was Pride. It's Pride in Phoenix this weekend, and everything was, and tomorrow is my book release, well, pre-order release, and like I'm just everybody I met got the YouTube lowdown for the party.
Yeah.
So half of Pride could show up. I don't know.
Maybe.
Depends on
Maybe.
how hungover they are.
It depends on how hungover they are, yeah. Also, happy Pride.
Yes, thank you. We're super
Yes.
excited to have one in person this year, and they
Yes.
postponed it for us. Normally it's in April, but they postponed it just so people could get vaxxed before it.
Yeah.
So it was nice having it in November, except for it was the same amount of hot that it is in April,
Oh,
because
shit.
November decided not to bless us with November weather, but that's okay. Maya's like, I would love it if half of Pride did show up.
I know, right?
It'd be great. Yeah.
But on a Sunday morning, at like 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever,
It's
the
it's 9 o'clock on Sunday, so
it's
I'm
9 o'clock
I'm
on Sunday.
guessing the gays, we have all pulled ourselves out of bed in time for brunch, but I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, because it's mimosa brunches on Sundays here. That's the AZ thing,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
It's possible to show up later.
It's possible.
So
Okay.
Allie made a zombie apocalypse video with their daughter, and it's on her Insta. Oh, her daughter's so proud. Okay, yeah, everybody, make sure you go check
Everybody
that
go
out.
watch.
Yeah, support the young and upcoming creatives.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Ooh, ooh.
I mean, that is as gay as RuPaul and Christmas.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's just rows of so our gay district is Melrose, and it's just rows of bars open on Sunday with brunch that has buffets. Yeah, so it's bottomless mimosas. You just see signs that say bottomless mimosas and brunch buffet all up and down Melrose. And then in between are a bunch of antique stores, hair salons, and nail salons. And thrift shops, because that's the AZ
Oh,
way.
yes.
Because that is the AZ way.
That sounds awesome. Jace is here.
Hey, Chase, one of our
We are honored
magnificent
by your presence.
editors.
Rose City editors. I have to totally thank and promote Rose City Editing for helping us with our developmental edits.
Caught so much that we missed. Helped line up things that were just skewed enough to, that would have really
Missed the
broken the
mark.
story. Yeah, they would have
Yeah,
really broken the story.
yeah. So they really made our story the best it could be.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
And reasonable for indie authors. So for indie
Absolutely.
writers working on budgets, very reasonable. Because I know that is the biggest thing that I always run across when I'm looking for, doing dev edits or line edits or whatever. Usually dev edits.
Hmm.
That's
Dev
the big
edits.
thing.
Yeah.
Most readers can forgive if your grammar is not great, if your punctuation is not great, because they're not writers. They don't get grammar and punctuation and stuff like that too. They're not writers and editors. So most people don't have the greatest grammar. But if your developmental stuff is off, there that's what breaks stories.
If you are going to spend money on, oh, hey, Cora, how's it
Hi, Cora.
going?
Thank you, Dev.
Also, Devin actually posted a link to rosecityediting.com.
Twit waddle
Please
for
to
the
be
win.
checking it out. Please to be checking it out. Especially if you have any intention of making your story the best that it could possibly be. If you publish or not publish, it doesn't matter. Um, it's it's like I dare say it's mandatory that you get developmental edits at some juncture. I got super lucky with Hope's Chest, where Morgan Hazelwood was basically my developmental editor. She was my beta reader, and she tore it apart, like totally helped me make it the best story it could possibly be.
Yeah. So, in response to Maya's question, what exactly does a developmental editor do?
Okay.
Developmental editors will look for they'll look for your general stuff like inconsistencies, things of that nature. But what they'll look for is where your kind of where your plot lines will be like a little inconsistent, or your logic doesn't quite add up, or if your pacing is off. They'll look for if your pacing is too fast, too slow, if you're weak in some points, like if you're weak in your dialogue, or they'll also
Just
look.
a random chapter that, like for some reason the quality goes down at some juncture.
Yeah, so they'll kind of look, they'll kind of comb over it for an overall, like, they look at the big picture of the story. Did you leave any subplots dangling that aren't teasers or foreshadowers to something else, kind of a thing, like leading into more of a series? They'll look to see if where your where your main plots and your subplots don't quite mesh, like they don't feel like they're
Oh my
like.
gosh, if you're writing a mystery, developmental edits are absolutely necessary.
Yeah, because there's so many red herrings. There are so many. Yeah, I. So the one thing that I paid for with books one and two were developmental edits. Like the one thing that I paid for, and I was a broke ass writer at that time, y'all.
Also, yes, also things like, does this pay off for the reader?
Yeah, does
You
it
know,
have a satisfactory conclusion? Does it have a satisfactory build? Is your anticlimax, is your anticlimax leading into your climactic point good? Is your denouement, or your uh, what
denouement?
denouement? Yeah, your denouement, is that off? Is that too short? Do you
Is
have
it too
enough
short?
there?
Hmm.
And that's where a lot of writers, because we're like we're rolling down the hill. It's all downhill at that point, and we tend to get a little quick. I
Yeah.
mean, even Sako and I did between the two of us. So yeah, it's basically is overall this story satisfying for the reader? Does everything add up, and does your reader get a satisfactory payout?
Yeah. We got a happy cover reveal day. Thank you
Hi,
very
Morgan.
much. In fact, I kind of want to show it off right now. Um, I'm gonna stop screen and share screen
Totally.
and Flambeau. Da da da
Dun
da.
dun dun! It is up.
Pre-orders are prepared and ready to go.
Now, the link that is there is for US. However, it has UK, it has Australia, it has Canada. I made it worldwide. If it gave me the shipping options for it, the who could find it on their Amazon, it's there. Um, Nook and all of that stuff will be coming this week. I'll be rolling it out over the course of this week for the pre orders. Some of them offer pre order, some don't.
Yeah.
So on the platforms that do offer pre-order, I will be rolling it out slowly this week. I will make social media announcements, letting people know when it is live on various pre-order platforms. And then I will also make sure that for those that don't allow for pre-order on December 11th, of course, we'll drop it for
In
release
its
on
full.
and it's
Yeah.
full on other platforms.
Yes.
So there's all of that. Thank you, Barrett. Oh, and Devin went ahead and dropped a link too.
Yay. Um, she had Maya had a question as to how you become a developmental editor. You just start offering it, and
Build your portfolio is what I recommend first. Do that with Fiverr, places like that. Just start offering,
coffee,
coffee. Start offering
whatever.
it. Um, on Fiverr, when I started doing line editing, I started offering it on Fiverr initially to build my portfolio, build a client base, kind of get that going,
Rolling.
and then once I kind of had like a little bit of a portfolio I could send out if people wanted sample copies and things like that, then I did that. You can Google contracts, stuff like that, like how to make your contracts and do those. Highly recommend getting a separate bank account if you're going to do anything that is offering freelance work, any kind of freelance work or things like that. Getting a separate bank account because you are going to have to keep your taxes separate and things of that nature because you are going to have to probably pay out a little bit in taxes at the end of the year, and you'll need to be able to calculate that and give that to an accountant. But I also recommend having doing that for your books in general, just having a separate bank account anyway. So
Okay.
I have a separate bank account for my books.
It looks like Maya literally does this for fun. So,
Some
if
people
you
love it.
so I just say, yeah, build your portfolio, do it for cheap at first. Don't do it for free,
No.
but do it for cheap at first, and then once you have like some stuff in the can, um, actually do like a proper, you know, like a website that they can find you at, or
Yeah.
have an option on coffee that they can do, or anything like that.
Yeah. And
Like
it
I
lit
offer book formatting on my coffee.
yeah, and it can literally, if you're gonna make it like a thing you want to do constantly, it can literally just be a page on your existing website that just says, other services,
Other services, yeah.
or just or stuff like that. Or it can literally say copy editing services or developmental editing services, or you know, so
Oh, and Jace had started their own company because they really love developmentally edit.
and
And
Meadows a
she's
whiz with.
wizard with the other end, which is the line editing, the copy editing, the proofreading.
Mhm.
Also, BC, you look beautiful.
Thank you. I'm so hungover. The nice thing,
And I have my Slytherin
I
sweater
almost
on today.
I almost wore my Slytherin shirt because it's my sleep shirt. And I was
Mm,
like, I'm so comfy and cozy and it's so cold in my house that I
yeah.
just want to keep it on. But then the problem with it is it's such a dark green that it just blends into my chair. So I just looked like this disembodied head. I didn't even look like I just looked like hands and a disembodied head sitting here once I got the light on me, and I was like, nah, I'll go get a shirt.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we feel like doing? Um, so there is the link for the pre-order.
Yes,
Um,
and oh, I did want to drop the letting folks know. Um, a few people know already that, I mean, this is book 3 in the Metaphysical Chronicles series. Books 1 and 2 are available right now. However, my intent was before this book was 3 was available for pre-release was to update the editions because I become a better writer and I put some bonus material into books 1 and 2. But I was hospitalized this week. Nothing serious, guys. I'm fine. Just had to go in for a few days of pain management and some observation. But I did not meet any of my goals this week, which was to get those copies finalized, so I could get them to Sako in a reasonable amount of time for her to format them, so I could get them uploaded. So I am going to drop a link in the chat when books, if you're interested in purchasing book 1 and 2 at some point, when book 1 and 2 is available. I will, if you want, sign up for this. I will email you and let you know when they are available. They should be available coming up very, very soon. But let me drop that in the chat. Oops, hold on. There we go. Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
So that is in there. So please feel free to just sign for that right now temporarily. I do apologize, but I've been running behind, and y'all know I've been dealing with some health stuff, and sometimes doctors come in and take away your laptop when you're working on it in the hospital.
Oh, Barrett is like, doing double duty. Holy crap.
Double timing.
All right. Thanks so much. Go back to your chat. Don't forget to hit the like button, friends. Thank you so much, Barrett. We appreciate it.
All right, everybody, double time and make sure you go like Barrett's, wherever Barrett's at right now.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
We all understand the whole I'm bouncing between live stream chats.
So again, if you want to be notified when the books 1 and 2 updates are applied, then fill out this form and we will get it to you as soon as it's ready.
Yes. And again, apologies on the delay, but I promise it will be worth the wait.
Yay!
If you purchase the Kindles now, I do know that when I re-upload the new content, it will automatically populate, and you will see the difference between the two. But it might throw you off a little bit because there was point of view. I had a POV change between first edition and second edition, so that might confuse people.
Barrett's link to Sarah's stream.
Sweet. Thank you, Devin. Can always count on Devin.
You can always count on Devin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Spence has done the things.
Bam. Already done. Bam. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay. Oh, I think Jenny did too. She put pre-ordered the book. Congrats. Yeah, look up the top just a little bit. Yeah. Because one of the other Browns taking over the world popped in, Jennifer. And said hi.
Oh, hey, Kibby. So glad you could make it. Your smoke break took longer than you thought, and also ignored phone, which is fine. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Especially since it is Kibby's 40th birthday.
That's right.
And she is doing a stream tonight at 9:30 Central Time.
Yes.
And it's going to be a party there too. So
I'm super
happy birthday, Kibby.
Super excited for that. Cannot wait. So Bree promised me that, Bree is my wife, promised me that we would be home in time for at least me to see part of that, come to part of that.
Yay! Jack Byron has Mvrilta.
Hi, Jack. Yes.
Jack Byron, which is the more pronounceable name, has decided to grace us with his presence.
Jack's awesome.
That's okay, Allie. Your being here is support as well. Like, don't feel like just because you don't have money that you're not supporting us. You are. Yeah. Your very presence is appreciated.
Yes, and there, there are lots of times I don't have money when a book is released, and I don't have money for a
Mm-hmm.
little while. Um, just because if I bought every single one of my writer friends' books as soon as they were released, I would be living on the street in no time. So I buy them as I can, and what I do in the meantime is I retweet people's stuff. I like and share on the socials as much as I can. I do all of that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
because that helps immensely.
it helps immensely. Yay! Thank you, BC. That means a lot. Thank you.
I will.
And
I
also
will
say
thank her.
thank you to your partner for me.
I will thank her.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. Next thing is Adrian, Books by Adrian, was nice enough to work with us regarding a book trailer.
It's so good.
So let us
I like
share.
jaw dropped.
y-
When when Adrian just sent the little teaser to us about how's this for a starter, y'all. And I was like, that's just the starter? I was like,
That's the first draft.
yeah, I was like, that's a first draft of something? I was like, holy crap, okay.
It's gonna be
But
awesome. All right, here we go. Oh wait, did I share audio?
yeah, I
I
hear
don't.
it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah. I know sometimes I forget too.
Okay. I think it's now like a default. Whee! Woo!
Woo! Super excited!
Awesome.
I'm enthralled, intrigued, and entranced.
Yay! Woo!
Okay, that's good to know, Maya. That's a good little
Thank
point.
thank you for that. Um,
So, y'all, Adrian does amazing work.
Adrian does amazing work. So
Works,
if you are ever interested in a book trailer, which I strongly recommend when you're
yes,
putting together your marketing, um, talk to Adrian. He does some amazing work.
he does. He's really reasonable. He works with a lot of small writers, like small business writers. Um,
Woo, woo,
yeah,
yay!
just
Wow!
absolutely great. Yes, Allie, it's book three.
Book
Um,
3.
And so I have an existing world that, as we were going through it, I realized as we were writing this one how well it aligned with my series, with what I had planned out in the rest of my series, which I was already working on book three for the series. And I thought this one actually was a really great bridge between book two and what I had considered my book three at the time. And so I discussed it with Sako, and we decided that with very minimal effort, we could make this book three. And so we
Yeah,
did.
and so we did.
Yeah. And there are a couple benefits to that. I have an established fan base. the books have been out for a very long time. I've done a ton of marketing. I have a very dedicated, fervent fan base at conventions and stuff like that. So it just allows the benefit of Sako and I to merge more than just our AuthorTube community together. I can literally merge my entire fan base, and my entire fan base gets not just pushed to Sako and this book, but pushed to all of her other books, that she has now and coming out in the future, and
Yeah.
vice versa. I get to leverage, people who love Hope's Chest for and add them to my existing fan base. So do a collaboration, y'all. Write a book together.
Write a book together. We can talk about that a little bit too, how
Yes,
our experience of writing a book together
we
just
got
like
we
happened
got
to work out.
lucky as shit.
We got lucky as shit. Yeah. Um,
Oh,
so
Jace, I love this. Jace says, I read the whole thing, and that trailer made me want to reread it. Plus,
yay.
Jace, we took your comments, and
We
we've done
took
a
the
hell of a lot of
comments
work.
definitely to heart. Um, thank you so much for your critique. It was absolutely essential in making this the story that it is.
Yes, yes, very much so.
Yay! Can't wait to read the series. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes. And again, that's that link that I dropped. I'll do it again in the chat because books 1 and 2, for those that popped in, are not quite finished on their second edition. I just cleaned them up a little bit, is all I did. Their titles were changed because their titles were changed to be more in line with
The
the
series.
series. So with the one word title
Yeah.
of the series. So I did that. I just realized I made a goof on something, but
All right. Also, Devin totally linked up books by Adrian, who does a podcast every Sunday with other authors.
mm-hmm.
I do recommend scoping them out, and it's hours and hours of like excellent information.
Yes.
Yay! But we were inspired by Savvy and RK, who wrote Cancel Sean Boston, which is out now, by
Which
the
is
by.
out. Actually, I'll go grab that. Let me grab
Yay!
that so I can drop that link. And then I'll grab. Hey, Devin, while I'm doing that, would you give me the benefit of dropping Savvy and
RK.
RK's links if you have them quick on the quick? If not, I can do. I don't want to depend on you specifically to do that for me, Devin, but I figure we can maybe multitask. All right.
Yay!
So
All right.
yeah,
So
RK.
yeah, we decided that every Monday and every Thursday or Friday or it's actually
Whatever day I
why
could do it.
it's actually why I started doing my streams on Monday nights, which by the by, tomorrow I will not be having my stream, but instead we will be on Books by Adrian's stream and we will be talking about the production and planning that we did for this book trailer and talking about the book a little bit.
All right, so I just dropped Cancel Sean Boston's link for Amazon into the. So Savvy and RK were having such a good time writing the book, and everyone in the chat was so involved and just helping guide the story, and it was so much fun. And Sako and I were participating, and we just kind of looked at each other and went, "You want to try this? Because that sounds like
We
fun."
just like arbitrarily decided to write a book together. I had this like idea for a book like hanging out in the back of my mind for the last couple of years, and yeah, it was nice to be able to implement it finally and really flesh it out and really bring it to the masses in a way that is gratifying not just to me but to the reader.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was a bonus to me because it added on to my existing world,
Hmm.
a continuation of my existing series. So it was just like, okay.
Yeah, so no reminder needed.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was just like, it was one of those things where I was just like, this could be fun. You write horror, I write supernatural already. So I'm pretty sure we could bridge this.
Yep.
Um,
So
it,
I had the horror aspect, she had the mystery aspect, and we combined them in a way that I thought was super juicy.
yeah. And, with it was nice since we are both practicing witches that it's nice to have two people who understand uh, realistic magic and how it goes into a book and how it can be delivered cinematically and epically, but realistically at the same
Yes,
time.
at
So,
the same time. And that's something that I am particularly invested in
yeah.
is, and it kind of keeps me from reading other witch um, fiction,
Hmm.
is realistic magic. Like,
Yeah, I want spell drop. I want I
yeah,
want consequences. I want the law of three to apply, and I want there to be spell drop and consequences, and the fact that people just aren't all powerful.
yeah, there's a consequence to it. There's paradox.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of like fun stuff.
yeah. So it was nice to be able to just be like to just be able to go. I want to I want to be able to portray this in this scene. I don't know how to do it well. You know what I'm talking about. And yeah, and Sako just being, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking
I think I know how to put it in there
about.
and like make it because people that even like me and Sako who look for realistic witchlit and stuff like that, magical realism is hard.
It
It's
is.
very hard to make it interestingly epic and make it break the bounds of reality, but do so in a realistic delivery without it just being like, and boom, I've got I could shoot fireballs from my hand for no reason with no consequence.
Right.
So
Right.
okay, Maya, thank you.
Thank you so
Mwah, mwah,
much.
mwah, mwah.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day.
But yeah, so yeah, so the process was surprisingly easy for Sako and I because we write very similarly. Our process is very similar.
So our voice was like my number one concern when
Yeah,
writing with somebody else, and we came up with a voice that I feel is consistent throughout the book.
yeah. I was
Um,
worried about that a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't know, is she going to be like a more staccato writer? And I'm not. I'm very languid. And I was like, so voice and consistency of voice and tone. Like I knew we could keep with style and tone for the throughout the thing, but with the piece I was worried about our voices fluctuating because most of the time Sako and I were working simultaneously on different sections. And that's when you're joining in with the live streams, and you saw I was writing in one color. She was most of the time writing in another color, and then we had just the normal black font for
for
stuff that had already been looked at by both of us and we were cool with,
yeah. So
was previous draft.
draft. I feel the need to mention that while she was writing, I was editing, and while I was writing, she was editing.
Yeah. So
So,
sometimes we would work on a section like on a Monday night stream. She'd be working on section one. I'd be working on a different section. But then from Monday until my stream on Thursday or Friday or whenever it was, she would be able to do more writing and or edits as
mhm,
she felt like doing them.
yeah,
And my days were between Thursday or Friday and Monday
yeah,
that I would be able to do additional writing and or edits. So that's kind of how we broke down the process on doing that and making sure we didn't like we weren't trying to do edits at the same time. Now, the fact that we were working
On the
in
same
on the same
sections.
section, yeah. The fact that we were working in Google Docs was fine because real time I could see when Sako was making changes and it would tell me Sako was in there making changes.
Hmm.
So that was
We did
helpful.
this in Google Docs, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, when doing uh, when doing a collaborative storytelling sort of situation, Google Docs makes it so that working together is the easiest it could possibly be.
Yeah, working in tandem for this, I couldn't have done. I like to do work in Google Docs anyway, but working in tandem on this, we couldn't. I don't think could have done it as easily with as little confusion.
Yeah.
Plus, you can put notes in. Plus, you can you put comments off to the
And
side,
comments
and
on the side,
yeah,
which was absolutely like beneficial for us because like I was making comments on the editing like as I was going.
yeah. And I'd go
And
through and be like, did we do this already? I don't recall us having done this, and we'd have to go check each other. Like we could
and
do.
we so a lot of developmental stuff was kind of done as we went along, but I feel like Rose City editing really like solidified like our missing links.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and there was a lot. Even between two of us, we're both experienced writers. Um, I'm an experienced editor, so is Sako. You know, we still had a bunch of notes by Rose City. Like,
Yeah, we did.
still a bunch of notes of, uh, this doesn't quite line up.
This
This
doesn't
isn't
quite line
this
up.
isn't quite satisfactory. I feel like there's a bit of a letdown here, or the pacing is too fast here or too slow here. So there was still a lot of that.
Um, and there's a how am I gonna say this? I lost my train of thought anyway, so it's all
That's okay.
good. All
It's all
right,
good.
so oh my gosh, it's only 40 minutes in.
It's okay. It's only 40 minutes in. But I am. Why don't we do like a little 5 minute break?
5 minute timer
Yeah, a little 5 minute timer break. I'm going to grab
because
some
I
more
got a
caffeine.
bio and I need caffeine and
Yeah.
all
So
of that
everybody
stuff.
take a quick bio. We're doing our party. But yeah, Kibby, it was really nice to be able to. It's really nice to be able to bounce ideas off of somebody else during the writing process that knows all of the details of your story. You don't have to like
Yes.
rehash them. Because I mean, we all have our plot trampoline friends that we bounce stuff off of. I know we do. But to have the same person be as intimately invested in the progress of that story and know all of the details, so wonderful.
Okay, let us do this thing.
Yeah. Quick bio. We're just going to do a quick bio, real quick, y'all, for 5 minutes. Refill much needed ibuprofen and caffeine, dealing with hangover from Pride weekend.
Okay, let's
Um,
do this in 3, 2, 1, and let's do it. We are back from our 5 minute break. BC will return here shortly from her break. So Jace had a question. Well, first off, JL popped in. Thank you so much. Yes, say howdy, and I hope you're staying well. We absolutely are. We are doing fantastic because this is our pre-order party, and pre-orders are up, and we're talking about the progress and like all the cool things that went into making this book.
Yeah. It's totally what we're doing. Sorry, y'all. Bad time management skills with
It's
ADHD.
fine. It's fine. All right, so how much of the rest of the series is needed to enjoy this book? So books 1 and 2 share the same character.
Yes, so books one and
But
two have
you
the
don't
same
have
main
to read
character.
one before the other. It doesn't matter. It's basically a serial in that you don't necessarily need to read the other books in order to enjoy each book.
Yeah, the books build on each other, like off of uh, secondary characters and tertiary characters and things like that. But the main characters in most of the books are different. Books one and two have the same main character, and she will show up again as the forerunner in a future book as well that I have planned out. But what will now be book four, for instance, different main character.
Different main character.
But you might see Justicia or Kyler or somebody from book three, or you might see Abby, who's the main character in book one and two. She's an African American psychic. You might see her show up in later books or any of her characters. So they are absolutely standalone. They don't have to necessarily be read in any particular order. It would be beneficial further on in the series to read them in order, but as they are written, you can read them totally standalone.
Yep. Um, I have like questions that we can ask ourselves, I suppose, that I
Sure.
use for other people's book releases and stuff.
Yes, let's interview ourselves.
Let's interview ourselves. All right, so what can you tell us a little about your book for those that don't know what it's about?
Absolutely. So, Flambeau is a supernatural experience on a realistic level.
Mm-hmm.
It deals with social injustice, demonic and celestial activity. It deals with political maneuverings on Earth. It also deals with a young girl coming into her powers and a kind of jaded mentor who, helps her out in the process. But again, is suspicious of what she can do and whether or not she's on the side of good or evil.
Da, da, da. I
Da,
think
da,
that
da.
sums it up really well.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really good at those like quick elevator. What the hell is this about? Because people at conventions, people do that all the time. They're like, just give it to me, and you get tired of saying the exact same thing because they probably just heard the last 30 seconds of the exact same thing, and if
Mm-hmm.
they hear it again, they'll zone out. So I've gotten really good at that impromptu, improvisational. What is your story about? Like uh, teaser.
Yeah. Number 2, what was the hardest part or scene to write? And I think we'll both have very different answers because, like, we both wrote very different scenes.
We did. So, oh, so yeah, so Sako and I wrote very different scenes. Now we it that does not mean that we didn't most every scene has both her and my writing in it.
Right. Most
Because
every scene.
most every scene there were very few scenes that didn't need one of us to come in and smooth things out or flesh it out or take stuff away.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
but for me, I think the hardest scene to actually write was towards the end of the scene or towards the end of the book. Okay, because it is a mystery and there are demons and things like that. Someone dies in the book, and the funeral scene for me was probably the hardest.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, Only because as our story developed and changed between our initial concepts, then with our revised concepts, then with our developmental editing corrections and pivots and changes,
And it completely changed
it changed that
that
whole
that
because
whole scene.
yeah, because we wrote that scene very early on. It
Yeah,
was
we
one
did.
of our primary scenes that we wrote. Like during draft one, we had that scene.
Yeah.
Like after the zero draft, draft one, we had that scene because it was, this here's act one's big scene, here's act two's big scene, here's act three's, the denouement's big scene. And that was the big scene for that.
Yeah.
And then as some of the secondary and tertiary characters changed positions on their priority in the story and their storyline and how it threaded through the whole thing, that scene had to change majorly. And so it required every
Technically
draft.
speaking,
Yes.
it was absolutely the hardest scene.
Yeah.
Um,
For me,
I
technically, it was.
technically it was. Um, Emotionally, I
Mm.
think the hardest scene I had to write was when the convict um, basically mind rapes Justicia, and that was hard to write.
Yes. Yes. So that was hard for me to read. As a survivor of assault.
As a survivor and
So
also a survivor of assault,
so
right?
there is a slight trigger warning for that scene, which reminds me I need to make a note of that.
We should put it in the book.
Yeah. So we'll make a small correction there, and I'll make a change to the Amazon page here in a
Yeah.
second. So a small trigger warning for that one. As a survivor of assault, it helped that it wasn't a physical assault. That set it apart. Not that it's any better or worse or anything, but
I
that
think
set it
in a
apart.
way it was worse.
Well, I've always felt that physical scars, they heal and they go away. Emotional scars don't really.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're any better or any worse. It's just, yeah. So that scene was difficult. I was glad that you took point on it. I know I couldn't have. And we had that discussion, y'all, in the chat. So we had the discussion knowing we needed that scene, and I knew I couldn't write it.
Yeah. And
Um,
I'm willing to write really hard scenes,
yeah.
but like that means I basically have to experience it in order to be able to, channel my mojo into the story.
Yeah. Because as writers, I think the one thing um, and I know people in the chat are going to agree because we're all writers, that we are and experience everything that we write.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So whether Sako is an actual realistic IRL survivor of assault at this point, it doesn't matter. She is, because she's now had to imagine and put herself in the shoes of a person going through that mental assault, that emotional attack. Um, so so it was very difficult for me to even read the scene. I knew I had to. I put off reading that scene. I'm sure Sako noticed. I put off reading that scene and going over it for, I'd say, 2 weeks almost,
Almost.
because I had to make sure that I was in a not only a
Headspace.
yeah, I had to make sure I was in both a I can write and edit headspace, and I am okay enough in my mental health to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Now, I am fortunate that with my complex PTSD, that I have been through decades of therapy and EMDR and medication and support and support groups and, things of that nature. I've gone through decades of reconciliation
Yeah.
with my assault. And I am in a place where generally I can even get up and talk about my own assault and what happened, like detailed out.
I would say I'm at like 50%
Yeah.
when it comes to talking about it,
Yeah.
or writing about it or anything like that. Um, it, I would say I'm like 50% of the time I'm going to be okay, and then 50% of the time I'm not going to be okay.
If I'm prepared, if I'm
I'm
prepared,
try to be prepared, but
then
sometimes
yeah.
it's still going to sneak up on me.
Oh no, things sneak up. Things sneak up all the time. I suffer from, chronic nightmares, from night terrors. I have CPTSD where most nights I wake up bathed in sweat because of nightmares. They're not even nightmares, but they're
Stressful.
stressful enough or disturbing enough dreams that are similar enough that the whole next day I have to spend the whole day processing, not repressing, but setting aside the memories that have been dredged up so that I can sort through them one by one and
Yes.
reprocess them properly. So that's a cool thing. Totally fine, Floyd. You're good. Or Lloyd, sorry. Totally fine. You are totally
Thank you
good.
so much, Lloyd. Thank you for popping in. Late is still better than
Yeah.
not showing up at all.
The
So we're so happy that you're here.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll drop the link again, Lloyd, so that you know, because I know books 1 and 2 you have read. I'm pretty sure. I was hospitalized this week. Did not get around to getting the updates for 1 and 2 second edition put in there. I'm gonna drop a newsletter thing, and you can sign up as soon as 1 and 2's second edition are available. I will drop you an email and let you know so that you can go grab those if you have them on print and want the new versions on print, because there is bonus material with all new covers.
Yes.
If you have the ebook, it will automatically update everything in your Kindle e-reader. It should automatically populate once it does its updates.
Yes.
But book 3 is available, does not have to be read in conjunction with the new bonus material in books 1 and 2. FYI. Let me grab the links.
Regrab.
Yeah, regrab. And the bad thing is I gotta talk to my partner about my keyboard. My keyboard goes to sleep periodically.
What the fuck?
And I have to hit the space bar. So here is the book. Yeah, it times out and goes to sleep periodically. I don't know, it's
weird.
annoying. And here is book 1 and 2 second edition sign up notification. And again, for those that are concerned about why, everything about me being in the hospital, that's no big deal. It's just pain management and observation stuff. Sometimes happens. This one I thought was really no big deal. Went to urgent care just for a quick fix and patch me up, doc, and send me home. And he was like, hospital with you. I was like, damn. And then I literally had my hospital doctor confiscate my laptop.
Oh.
He came in. Okay, so when I'm going through the pain management, I don't sleep well. Nobody sleeps well at a hospital, period. They check your vitals every 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There's noise. There's always something bright and flashing in your room, and there's always an alarm going off.
Right.
So even with the ears turned off, all of that was way too much. Plus, for me, disrupting my routines with ADHD is it's terrible. And
it's terrible.
Yeah. For an entire week leading up to this, I had been in pain and hurting. So all of my routines were disrupted. And so I was already going on insomniac mode. Insomniac bordering on just dropping from exhaustion. And so for the first night I spent up there, I couldn't do anything. But, my wife was nice and brought me my laptop the next day. She's like, are you sure? I was like, I need to at least be doing something if I'm going to be awake.
Mm-hmm.
And so what the first doctor came in and was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Just getting a little bit of work done while I waited on you."
Mhm.
And so the first doc was like, "Okay, sure." Second doc came in, however, and was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I have a book getting ready to drop on Sunday. Just getting some work done. I promise I'm napping as I can." And he was like, "No." He's like,
Oh.
he's like, "We're gonna give you something to sleep, and you're gonna get some sleep."
Oh shit.
And I was,
Okay.
I was like, "Don't give me something to sleep that's gonna throw my whole sleep system out of whack. If I sleep in the middle of the day, I'm gonna be spending the next 3 months trying to get
Trying
back
to
up."
trying to get back to
Yeah,
normalcy.
I was like, if I do more than a 90-minute nap at some point, and if you're gonna sedate me, I'm gonna do more than a 90-minute nap.
Yeah.
I haven't slept in a week, kind of a thing. I had slept, but not well.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. And he's like, "I'm gonna have the nurses take it away for a minimum of 6 hours. You can have it back in 6 hours." Of course, I didn't sleep for only 6 hours. They gave me a sedative on top of pain medication.
Yeah.
Not on top of not just pain medication, because most people go to the hospital when they give you pain medication, they give you a very low dose of morphine if you can handle it,
Mhm.
if that's what you can have. That's usually what they give you. Oh no, no, no! My doc is like, "Oh no, you're getting the fentanyl." And I was like, "Good night, nurse." 100 times more powerful than morphine.
Yeah.
I was like, "Good night, nurse. I'm not going anywhere." So,
Goddamn. Oh, bye, Allie. You're probably long gone, but
so
we
my
we
doc
love
does
you.
my doc does that bit though, because he knows I don't have addictive tendencies with substances. So he's always like, "No, the fentanyl is better than morphine, and we give it to the patients that don't have addiction issues." He's like, "I know all about your shopping issues." He's
Well,
like, "Those, I don't care. Go buy whatever you want. If you can move and buy something while you're on fentanyl, then feel free to shop."
feel free. Yeah.
But
All
yeah.
right. So we were going through these questions for
Oh,
authors.
yeah, I'm sorry. Hungover and off track.
So we just talked about what was the hardest. What was the most fun to write? I think the most fun I had was the first chapter, which was kind of like a prelude sort of situation. Um, the
Yeah.
fight with the um, between Daisaku and the thrall.
Oh, that opening chapter, y'all.
That opening chapter was the most fun for me.
Sako did such amazing work on that opening chapter.
E-
All I really had to do was come in and fix the setting, because
mhm.
the book primarily takes place in LA.
Yeah.
So it's spread a little bit between San Diego, which is where Kyler, our non-binary clairvoyant, lives. Phoenix, which is one of Daisaku's like primary haunts, like for his office, because he covers kind of the southwest and the western seaboard for his stomping grounds as a bounty hunter.
Right.
And then LA, which is where Justicia is, which is where most of the book takes place. However, neither Sako or I live in LA,
Hmm.
and I wanted a very gritty, realistic start to the book. And so that's why we've set Daisaku one of his offices in Phoenix, because I could accurately attest to what Phoenix in April during 2020 was like. So April 2020 Phoenix, and what was the unrest that was going on. So Sako wrote this beautiful introductory scene between our bounty hunter Daisaku and the enthralled human being that's enslaved to a demon. Battle scene. Like, he's trying to bring in a perp. He's trying to bring in a bounty. And then all I had to go through and was just paint the setting. Like, I didn't have to do hardly anything else. There we go. There's the
So
cover.
if you missed the cover reveal, here is the cover, and
Yes.
pre-orders are now available. You will get your actual copy on December 11th.
Yes, absolutely. And that is when print will be available as well.
Yes.
So if you are someone like myself who likes to have both, then there you go.
There you go.
Thank you. I hope you like it. So I do want to cover the cover art. I don't want to cover the cover. Um, just touch on it very briefly. Sako and I had to go back and forth on this because neither she nor I are big fans of urban fantasy's current cover trends, which
Yeah.
always have us. If it had been the current trend, it would have had Justicia and probably Daisaku, our two main characters in this story, just like full fledged on the front of this book with like fire coming out of their hands or eyes or something crazy, and
Or
like
something crazy. Yeah.
magic swirling around them, which seems to be the common. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not her or my preference or
Style.
aesthetic. It's not our style. We like slightly more ambiguous and slightly more mysterious art and a little more abstract. So while designing the art, Sako took a stab at a few things that she had ideas. They gave me lots of ideas. And I said, well, let me take a stab on C and then we'll try and see what we can, merge.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we did.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually liked the previous version to this, where it was all red and fiery and stuff like that. We grayed a lot of it out just so that it kind of like went along with the series, so it
The
looks
branding
like
in
it
the series.
belongs. It looks like it belongs in the series. Um, Yes, best part about being self-published, you can control so much more about books. Absolutely. And I have to give all the credit to BC for designing not just the cover for Flambeau, but also the covers for books one and two. Um,
Thank
it,
you.
it it's amazing work,
Thank you. I
especially
appreciate it.
considering it's mostly done in Canva.
Yeah, so that astounded a lot of folks when I was like, hey, I need eyeballs on things. Give me your input, kind of a thing. That astounded a lot of people when they were like, what programs are you using? I'm like, well, I use GIMP, which is the free version of Photoshop. Um, I was like, I use a little bit of my Apple Motion because I have that. I was like, but mostly everything's done in Canva. And people are like, seriously? I was like, well, it's the paid version of
It's the
Canva,
paid version,
so I
yeah.
can have access to certain things. I'm like, but yeah, well, like it's primarily most of it, and it's also just easier for me to share that way.
Yeah.
Like I could share it without people having to like download a whole thing, or and Sako could make changes if she wanted to, and be like, nope, don't
Mhm.
like this, get rid of that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I like working. I found out I like working more on cover art than I thought I liked doing it before.
Yeah.
But I
Super
did,
awesome.
and I have to agree with you, Sako. I liked the previous cover, the first version that had more of the red and more of the oranges and fire to
Yeah, I
it.
really like that cover, but honestly, it just didn't mesh well enough with the rest of the
Yeah. I
series.
tried so hard to make the other covers mesh with it. Like those first two covers, I was like, how do I just make there be less gray in these?
Yeah.
Like, how do I?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
the
to bring it up
yeah
to that
yeah
standard.
it's like how do I add more because the first two covers have all that green
Hmm.
in it, and I was like, how do I make the first two covers have more green and less gray so that where there's more red and orange in this one, it
It
will
will
look
even out.
it'll
Yeah.
even out. And I couldn't get those covers. I couldn't get the design to work with it, and I did not want to have to go from scratch. So,
Um, let's
so,
see. Books one and two.
so I've not shown the cover updates yet on them, Eva, because uh, what I was saying, Eva, is that because I was in the hospital this week, I did not get a chance to get everything updated that I wanted. So, books one and two, I know you were going to go and get them. Um, I have a sign up form because they're not ready. As soon as they are ready, sign this form. I will email you. Okay? But we can go ahead and show the cover art. So, you want me to drop the links for
Yeah,
those
could you?
in Canva so you can bring them up quickly? If I can bring them up quickly?
Yeah.
Maybe. My computer's being slow. My computer's being slow because I have 8,000 tabs available. All right, so here, like I have 8,000 tabs open. So here is book one. Front and back. Those are, if you want to show the back.
Yes, I do.
don't.
Well, the front.
Yeah,
We don't have to show
show
the back. Share screen. Da da da! Hindsight. Book
That's
one
book one.
in the Metaphysical Chronicles. This is the update.
This will be this will be second edition. The cover art for it with the updated title. Lloyd, for you, if you're still lurking in the chat, that is A Touch of Darkness. Previously, A Touch of Darkness.
Previously, A Touch of Darkness. And
and then book two.
And book two.
So Lloyd, as to your question about how these tie in with books 1 and 2, and this book was previously A Touch of Madness. They went down to just one word titles, so that they could tie in with Flambeau a little easier. How these tie in, they are all set in the same world, and they do share some tertiary characters. Together, they are right now they are standalone, independent from each other.
Mm-hmm.
But they can, they do build into a conjoined world action adventure thing later, where you will see Abby from the main character from the first two books, will make appearances in maybe in one of Justicia's books, or vice versa. So you will see them being blended together. But this is a long-standing series. Right now I have 9 books that are planned out, and most of them are at least bare bones outlined, and some of them are even zero drafted in bits. So feel free to read this one as standalone, Lloyd. It's not leveraged on Abby and her world and what she did. That's just gonna introduce you to Metaphysicals and the backstory of Metaphysicals. Which is
okay.
Yeah. Which is not leveraged a lot in Flambeau. The world of Metaphysicals is there. It is mentioned. But Flambeau is more about the mystical aspect of this world.
Yeah.
And less about the non-mystical manifestations. Because in my world that I built, I had to be complicated. It's not just a magical system, it's a supernatural system that has people who use magic to tap into it, and people who are non-magical who can just do it.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason. So I have both the science and the magical world, the mystical worlds combined.
Yes. What happens to your MC after the book ends? That would be a spoiler, so we're not going to answer that one.
Spoiler!
Do you think there will be a sequel? Most likely, definitely.
We kind of already started on the concept of a sequel before we finished, draft 2?
Before we finished draft 2, we were like, we really like this character, and
I'd love to expand this.
We kind of deserve, like, they kind of deserve for us to make them a focal point
at some point. Yeah, and then there was one particular scene that I really enjoyed writing. that wasn't my favorite, but I really enjoyed writing was the council scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
specifically one character in it who really piqued my interest on how we could expand him out and
Mm-hmm.
like expand out some of these political maneuverings within this mystical world. And so I was like, by the way, Sako, yay! Thank you, Kibby. Have fun at the 9 to 5. Or at least grin and bear it.
Grim Barrett.
But yeah, so Sako and I was just like, I would love to expand that one. And then there was another like very minor one scene again character that I was like, I want to expand this guy out. He intrigues me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we started thinking we'll definitely probably whether or not Sako and I write it
It
or
might turn into one of us or the other writing it, and then I
yeah,
don't know. Like, this is a
it
team effort from here on out, I think.
yeah, this is pretty much a team effort from here on out. There are the books that I already have I'm already kind of working on um that I may end up, doing independently. I was letting Sako know, of course, she has free reign to write in the world. I'm going to turn over my whole Bible for
Series
the
Bible.
series. Yeah, I'm going to turn over the whole thing to her as soon as I make it intelligent for someone else.
And so I did the series Bible for Flambeau, and
Can we like show that? I just want to kind of show them the folders,
yeah.
like, and how we set it up because I know when I was a writer, when I was a writer, when I was, yeah, there we go. When I first started writing, the concept of how to organize shit just was not there. And so I was scattered all over the place and it just seemed so overwhelming. So I'd like to I know you've gone through it and shown it on previous stream, but I really want to show it on this one. So,
I think it's a great idea.
yeah, y'all, this is like, as you guys could see, this is the drive in the writing folder, which this is funny that it's almost set up and looks almost exactly like mine. Mine, the only difference between mine at this point is mine says my drive, writing, and then it says like long form and short form.
Oh,
So that's my only other folder I have in there because I have what's novel and what's short fiction for anthologies and stuff
sure,
delineated out.
sure.
But yeah, so, and then mine literally says BC/Sako folder.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
We just shared Google Drive. I'm just gonna.
you just did it in Google Drive. Um, Heart Breathings also got a excellent recommendation of doing a wiki, like a
Oh
shared wiki.
yes.
Um, I think the only difference is that we didn't necessarily want this to be super public.
Yeah.
But Heart Breathings mentioned that if like an ARC reader or a beta reader or whatever noticed something that wasn't in the wiki, they could add it.
Yeah. And we can control this. We could release it to you. We could release it to Rose City as our dev and say, if you need the wiki, here's the wiki. We could do
Mm-hmm.
limited links with this. If we wanted to make it super public, we could do an actual wiki for it. Since I write since the world is it's very mystery, most of the stuff is like a supernatural horror mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want there to be a huge public wiki
Yeah.
because that gives away too much.
Charlie started out in World Anvil.
World
Yeah,
Anvil is an amazing resource.
it is an amazing resource.
Why did?
Um,
Oh, gee, you want to answer that, Sako? Why does this make Floyd want their mage character?
so there are a lot of similarities between Flambeau and the World of Darkness. And like they can't like trademark the word Flambeau. They can't.
No, it's a
So
mystical thing.
it's a mystical thing. So, and a not so mystical thing, right?
True.
So, flambeaux were the people who carried the gas lamps in New Orleans and in San Diego,
In San Diego, New Orleans, they also in a lot of also London,
London.
very heavily in Scotland as well, Ireland. Basically, if it's a place that was foggy and if it had a like a creepy feel to a city, there's been a flambeau carrying around the gas lights at some point, whether or not they were called that. But in New Orleans and San Diego, and I think San Francisco,
I want to say that too.
they had them. They were literally named flambeaux. That was a job title. So
Password only wikis are a thing. That is
true.
absolutely true.
That is true.
Though, also, whoever has this link has the ability to edit. So there's that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, we're pretty, but yeah, this is kind of where we went, with it. Sako did this. It's far more organized than what mine was. Mine was I'm the folder queen. But she really brought everything together and into very concise, and it made total sense to me as soon as she did it.
And I actually studied very intensely Heart Breathing's series on series Bibles.
She's amazing.
And she really helped me bring everything together.
Yeah, she is amazing. So where I lack, one of the areas I just have to admit I get overwhelmed with and can't do it as well, is in organizational stuff, because it's part of my neurodivergency that I am always going to be either chaotically organized or I'm going to be hyper fixated, focused, organized, and that's all I'm going to get done. And if I let myself get into that, then it takes away the joy of the project for me. When
Yeah.
writing, I've
Yeah.
killed entire projects trying to be organized.
Yeah.
One specifically that my dad keeps harassing me about. Lloyd, you've heard Dad respond to my gargoyle story. He wants my gargoyle story.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get organized with it because it's a massive story. Tried to
Right.
get organized with it like this so I could have all my everything lined up and couldn't do it. And now that story came out prior to Heart Breathing's having her series, and so like her video series on how to do this. Also, it's just someplace I know, but now Sako has set up this. I can essentially use this.
Oh, I need to update the style guide
Yes, we do need to update the style guide,
now
but
that I've
that's okay.
formatted the book. Like, we just want it to be consistent throughout the series. So, the style sheet will be updated with all of the notes for vellum that I put together.
Yeah. And
Um,
yeah, I wanted to touch on that too. Like I spoke with Sako once she got this one formatted. I knew we were going to have her format this because she does that and is
mhm.
really good at it.
Good.
She agreed she'd go ahead and reformat books 1 and 2 so that they're in a line. And then any independently written one that I come out in the series going forward, I'm going to pay her to do.
Yeah.
And then that way everything is stylistically the same. Like, I would expect if she decides to independently write something in the series going forward, of course she'll format it, but touch base with me about the cover art. That way it's all okay. Bye, Jack.
Hi,
Yes, we'll see.
Ramiro Cruz. How's it going? Have a great day. We're so glad that you dropped in. It's amazing to see you.
But yeah,
Uh,
this
Sipping
organizational system
chaos.
is amazing. So I am working on getting my old, very chaotic series Bible that I had
See you, Jack.
into this system so that Sako can use it going forward. Because, like I said, I've opened up the world to her. I mean, I obviously want her to let me know when she's
Yeah,
gonna write
well,
something in the world,
absolutely.
but
Um,
like I am cool with her just jumping off the deep end and like, hey, but she's gonna have access to everything I have as it goes in there.
you know, there is a way that okay, so for Nano, which I am super behind, but
Oh, me too.
I intend on catching up. Um, there's the there's a capability um that I can weave in some magic. Um, the thing that like hits me immediately is the so it is a story about a man who is discovering his origin. He found out he was adopted and he wants to know his original family. And he finds out that he is part of a Russian mob.
Ooh,
And there is totally the ability that the Russian mob can be like, like Giovanni or their own magical
yeah,
like system. So it doesn't have to be necromancy or anything like that, but it'd be super fun, right?
it would be fun. I really gotta, I really gotta get the notes together for book 5. So book 5 is so book 4 is where the magical system, where the mystical in the world starts to combine with the non-mystical,
Right.
which the non-mystical, for those who have read books 1 and 2 existing copies, um, is legal. Like, being a psychic in this world is legal, is recognizable in court.
Hmm.
Like, you can eyewitness testimony, psychic visions, things of that nature. You can be there are jobs that hire people with telekinesis to lift objects and move them around and do stuff like that. So like stuff like that. So that is kind of the basis of the world. However, magic isn't recognized legally, like as being a thing. Mages are not. They're not an out class.
Right.
They're very closeted, which is everybody. Pagans are out, but yes, pagans are out, and that is recognized and legal, just like in this world. But actual mages and witches with magical ability to be able to manifest and do things are not out. They're very closeted. They're very much in the broom closet and hanging back. And so that's what's going on in book 3 here, is we're getting a glimpse of that in this world. Book 4, we get a little bit more of them being combined. And book 5 is the what I have planned out is book, hell breaks loose, kind of a thing where the worlds collide, and now the world is forced to deal with the civil rights of not only non-magical extraordinary abilities, but magical ones as well,
Yes.
and demons and angels, and
And demons and angels and the scope got bigger.
the scope got huge. So, and then of course there are 4 more books after that,
Yeah.
at
Hi,
minimum. Hi,
Paige.
Paige.
So wonderful to see you. Late is, I mean, you showed up at just the right time. Don't even worry.
We've been
Um,
covering everything, but yeah. So that was those. Um, so, but yeah, the where were we at? I spun us off on a tangent again. I'm real bad about that today. We were asking questions, and then I got off on I wanted to add something.
um, w- do you think there will be a sequel?
Oh
Was
yes, okay. That was a very circuitous yes. That was a very long-winded circuitous yes.
yes. What is a significant way your book has changed since the first draft?
Oh,
A lot.
oh my goodness. Far more complex.
Far more complex. I feel like first draft felt like a short story.
Very much so.
A 35,000 or not, a
Novella.
35, yeah, like a little novella. But we wanted it to be a novel. We wanted it to be like 72 to 75K
Mhm.
novel. And so we made it one, the developmental edits really helped us like put together everything. Um, and then we continue to flesh out the the book uh, into the fourth draft. I feel like four is the magic number
So yeah, so well, for us,
for
definitely.
us anyway. I made it four drafts into Hope's Chest. I made it four drafts into Flambeau.
Yeah.
I
I
expect I'll need four drafts for Shattered Child.
I have never done less than 4 drafts. I mean, I guess it's technically 5 by because I count my zero draft.
I
So,
count my zero draft, yeah.
yeah, so it's technically 5 drafts. Um but by the time you get to draft number 4 from 0, that's where I never do less than that. I for me I usually do more, but as I explained to Sako, I draft at slightly different points than she does, and I also have to do a full draft where I'm just going back and adding in the titles and like the chapter headings and subchapter headings, whereas Sako went in and did that. Like where it was there was a natural break in the progression of writing. Sako just went in and
I
went,
try to
"This looks
write
like a good
like
place."
chapter,
Yeah,
and I might number it, I might not
no, that's fine.
when I make those breaks.
Yeah, and it's not that is something I do on a whole different draft. So that's like one of my final drafts that I do, is where I just go, okay, now I'm going to go in and chunk up my story, like based
Mama
on the
tried
pacing.
when she was younger, but she moved away with it with unfinished novel manuscripts and almost published, but never was published book, children's book.
So I think a lot of writers put a lot of pressure on themselves that if they're going to write something, they have to come out with books.
And they don't, I
No,
feel like that's a common misconception.
I think it is. I think it really is. There's
My
nothing.
mom, for instance, she just writes. She she doesn't organize it by book. She just like does it by story arc, basically, which could be 100,000 pages, maybe,
Yeah.
but maybe 200,000. But she just writes, and she never publishes it, which
Mm-hmm.
she totally could now. There's like
Oh, I'm sure she has hundreds of thousands of words.
absolutely.
You know,
She laughs at me when I say I'm gonna do NaNoWriMo because like she does 50K like on a good day.
your mom is just
And I'm
prolific.
like,
She's a machine.
she is a machine. But she basically RPs with herself. Like she doesn't adhere to any kind of like structure. She doesn't um she's not into telling it as a story. She's just looking to entertain herself, and she entertains herself by writing.
Yeah, and that's great. I did that for the longest time. I did it with no intention of writing. It doesn't matter. You'd be late. We love having you here, Mel. Thank you so much. But yeah, I think so. But I want to tell, writers, if you want to just publish a novella, publish a novella. There are huge markets for that, first of all. There are a lot of readers that simply don't have the time or the attention to consume 50,000 plus words, which 50,000 is kind of the bare minimum consideration for a novel, like a full length novel. But oh my god, my wife is making bacon.
Oh,
Oh, I want some. I'm sure she'll bring me some. But yeah, so if you just want to write novellas, then write novellas. If you want to write less than that, great. People love buying short stories. Price them at 99 cents and
Yeah.
you don't make a bunch of money that way, but you'd actually be surprised because it adds up real fast. I have a good friend. She writes romance novellas. They are about 25,000 words. Um, they're kind of real short, real sweet, and to the point. She writes, like sweet romance, like that heartwarming romance. She's really good at it, and she probably puts out about 3 of those a year.
Hmm.
And then at the end of the year, like right around Halloween, she drops like them all three in one that you can buy, like a little anthology edition of the year of just 3 of the stories in one. And she puts in a teeny tiny little short story that follows them. That's like 1, 2, or 3,000 words that ties all 3 of them together.
Nice.
And it's like her little bonus Christmas bonus that goes into it.
That's very
And
cool.
and people buy them again for that Christmas bonus because she
Here
only does
is
that in print.
Here is the link again in case you have not pre-ordered the book.
Thank you,
We
Devin.
are ever so grateful to Devin for helping us out in posting this link. Um, Melanie says her debut was a novella. If she would have tried to make it novel length, there would have been info dumps, and that is something that we were very careful about.
Yes. So
Um,
I don't think we had too many issues where we wrote in something that wasn't
there was a
necessary.
couple like this isn't necessary anymore. This
Yeah,
isn't.
what anymore? It was initially, but then once we pivoted, once we decided to add things or change things, then we went, well, this just we don't need this anymore. Scratch
It's
it's got to go.
become redundant,
Yeah,
basically.
but I think with Sako and I editing each other and ourselves at the same time that we were writing, which is not my normal process. I don't know that if it's yours even really, but we were really good about there not being too much redundancy at any point to have to take out. Now, for me, going back through and doing edits would have been a whole nother draft. So that's,
I
again,
feel like, and ditto for me. So I feel like we kind of covered each other's tracks enough to where we could do one less draft.
yeah.
Otherwise, it probably would have been five or six.
Yeah,
You know,
if we had been independently working, it probably would have been 5 or 6.
yeah.
Honestly, it might have been a few more than that for me, only because I I would have had to have done more initial brainstorming drafts. Like not brainstorming drafts, but my beats would have. I would have had a 2 draft beater.
Oh, I got you.
Like I would have had to go through and do my initial beats,
Hmm.
do all my drafting in my initial beats, and then go back through and do a second, fill in my beats.
That is also how I work.
Yeah, like so. Lloyd's heard me say this before for years in person. That I do usually minimum for myself. I do about 7 drafts.
Oh, wow.
That includes the 0 draft, so 0 to 7 drafts, and that blows a lot of people's minds.
So
Kind of,
originally,
kind of.
so we started in July of 2020.
Yes, we took a couple of breaks where neither of us were working on the book. So
And that kind of happened by accident,
yeah,
by the by. Like
because
I
life.
took a break and she took a break and it just happened to line up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Our lives got screwy at the same time.
um, not just that, but I feel like there should definitely be a period where you take a break from your manuscript.
And yeah, Sako brought that up that she's even going to start because we followed
I'm gonna
Mandy
start scheduling it
scheduling it. Yeah,
into
the
take a month
timeline.
off here, take 2 months off there,
Mm-hmm.
like,
I mean, it depends on your publication timeline that you have set up. Like, what is your intent and what is your release schedule like? Sako and I, neither one adhere to a specific release schedule. We're not like we have to have a book a year. Well,
Okay, so here's the thing. I have an anchor series kind of like in the works. I lost the current um, drafts in my old computer, which kills me. But I do have older drafts that I might be able to build up upon, and maybe it'll be better the second time. I don't know. But I have intention of writing the whole series first and then releasing them every 2 months
Well, that's slightly different. That's
or
batching.
4 months,
Yeah, you're
every
batching for
once a
that.
quarter, you know.
So if you're and that's batching your writing, which a lot of
Hmm.
writers do, where they will
Yeah,
write an entire series and then they'll drop a book a year
yeah,
easily because it's
easily.
pre-written, it's pre-formatted, it's pre-edited, the cover art's ready and to go, and you could just upload it and have
Yeah,
your parties and
yeah,
do your marketing.
yeah.
Then there's someone like me. I am too impulsive. I want to write it and release it and celebrate it on one big dopamine train.
It was a camp.
It was.
It
Yeah,
was a camp.
We did. We started during July.
Hmm.
I think we were a little bit into July. It wasn't a deliberate camp project for us.
It wasn't. It was like I said, it was kind of arbitrary.
Yeah,
Like we were just like, hey, we should write a book together.
yeah.
I guess we're writing a book together.
We were having
Uh,
fun together on Cancel Sean Boston with Savvy and RK writing their book together. And I was like, I'd love to write a book with you. And she was
yeah,
like, I'd love to write a book with you, and I have an idea already. And I was like, oh, great. I was like, well, you bring the horror, I'll bring the mystery. It's like, we'll get
we
down on
were a
this.
power team. We really were. We were
Yeah.
a super power team.
And we got lucky. Our
Hmm.
processes are similar enough, our voices are similar enough, and we work well together. We're compassionate with each other, we're understanding with each other, we communicate well with each other, and we get needing flexibility. Like
Yeah.
Sako and I both, like IRL, deal with chronic conditions. So we understand people having health things that just mean you cannot meet a deadline.
Yeah.
Things like that, or you need to take a chunk of time off, even though it's going to blow your release schedule out of the
W-
water a little bit.
So we had to reschedule a couple of times. Um, Originally, we had intended on releasing in September of, you
Of this
know,
year.
of this year. Um, and then we took that time off, and so we were like, um, we probably would have been able to make it if we did a quiet
Oh, it would have been
release,
yeah, like a stealth launch.
like a stealth
Not even a
launch,
soft launch, a stealth
a
launch.
stealth launch, which I have to give Mama Ward, Maggie Ward, uh, kudos for doing for the past year. Her Hold My Coffee series, basically 12 books in 12 months, I think was the plan.
Yeah, and
Um,
cranking them.
and she is cranking them out.
She
Like,
has been stealth releasing.
so this is part of our marketing plan is the pre-order party where we show off the book trailer, where we show off the book cover, where we show off
The series book covers,
the series book covers. We show off the art that we made, which is going to be
which
coming
is
up
coming
here
up
shortly.
soon. So yes, so kind of JL. The marketing plans for this book are a little different than how I've handled marketing plans for other books because, and I know Sako hasn't done it either, we've not written live on screen for you to see the book in progress for a year and some change with all the other
Hmm.
books. Now, while we have streamed and been live while writing stories, we haven't been like, this is the book Flambeau, Project Flambeau, 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 that we've been saying over and over and over and over and over again for a year and what, 3 months now, 4 months.
Are we
So
using Amazon
at
ads?
the moment, no. We're not
Not at the
doing.
moment, but it's not off the table.
So we hadn't really discussed like doing paid advertising yet for we want
We've been
to.
doing we've been doing what's free so
Yeah,
far.
organic at this point, talking about it. Um, in the past, I have done Amazon ads. Do they work?
That's questionable.
That's questionable. Um, Free promotions, things like that, do they work? That's questionable.
Hmm.
However, um, I don't usually do paid advertising until a minimum of 3 to 6 months after
Hmm.
my fully live print and ebook. The reason is I want to see what traction I can gain organically at first. I don't want there to be a huge spike at the beginning because there is going to be a huge spike at the beginning. Your existing fan base is going to double down and everybody's going to snatch up the book at once.
Right.
And then it tapers off. I want to see what the taper is like, and then I want to compare a 3 month taper, like the spike and the taper, to where we're just going like hopefully we'll go like this, but usually we're going like this. And then I want another 3 months of seeing does it go back up? Is it solid? Does it continue to decline? If it continues to decline and if it's solid or goes up, I don't do paid advertising. I'm good with where it's at. If it continues to decline, then I will consider paid advertising.
Yeah.
That's what I've done in the past. Sako and I haven't really gone over this,
I
but
think I think a time will come when we start to push for like New Year's, or we start to push for Ostara, or we start to push for another holiday, basically.
yeah,
And there's a chance that we'll do another party, or um, another advertising push or whatever. Like, um, then we might consider paid. But um, let me tell you, in my experience, that going from $20 to $40 in Facebook ads does not make it better.
nope. It has a it has such a marginal influence, even if you know your demographics, even if you know where to target your audiences at. And this is coming from both Sako and I who have been in marketing, not just for our own stuff, but we do marketing for other folks. And I have done paid marketing for people, building out their whole campaigns, setting the ads, doing the ROIs, doing all of the reports and things of that nature to deliver. Unless you're starting to deal with big money ad campaigns, there really isn't much of a needle movement on smaller stuff. And by big money ad campaigns, I'm not talking $100 to $300 ad campaigns. I'm talking 1,000, 15, 2,000 going on, kind
Mhm.
of a thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, that can be a thing sometimes. Of course,
Of course, a loss leader,
yeah.
right?
That
So,
placing for free is good to harvest.
or placing for 99 cents or
Placing for
whatever,
99
you know.
cents, yeah, doing drops like that are always really good to be able to do. I also like doing I like doing the zero promotion push is what I call it, where it's free for a while, but not all the time because I like the whole. I'm one of those people that if it's free all the time, I'll get around to downloading it or buying it, but I won't. I never get around to it.
I have not. So JL asks, would we consider Facebook over Amazon? And
For our audience, no,
it depends on the audience, right? I know a chunk of my audience is on Facebook, on
mine's
YouTube,
not.
but BC's is not, right? So Facebook ads would be kind of useless for BC, for the Metaphysical Chronicle series.
Yeah. Um, I would if I'm going to do paid advertising on platforms, I usually do paid advertising on platforms where there are readers gathered specifically. And that's Goodreads, that's Shelfari, that's Amazon, that's places where people are going to get book. It will be, yes.
It will
Well,
be.
the hardcover, I want to wait until Amazon. Okay, I am not
Amazon
against.
has some kinks to work out.
Yeah, I'm not against us publishing the hardcover on Ingram Spark, even though they're incredibly difficult to work with. They do quality work. The
I am
hardcovers are
not
quality.
opposed. I am not opposed to
But
doing that either.
yeah, but I want to give Amazon a chance now that they dropped their hardcover service and we've got it. I want to give them a chance to work out some of these initial kinks they have.
Hmm.
And then if I'm going to do something like hardcover, which I've considered now for my previous books, I'm going to do it as like an anniversary special or
Yeah.
something like that. I know a lot of people like hardcovers, but I think most of us just like to collect them
Hmm.
for the collectible purpose of having them. So yeah, I would do them. I would have hardcovers if I were going to be doing a well publicized. Yeah, their customer service is great. Their
Subpar.
interface is their UI isn't as great as it could
So
be, but
it's and it helps that we actually have a background in making shit like this work.
yeah,
So we are a little ahead of the curve as far as making stuff like this work for us, as opposed to us bending over backwards in order to work with Ingram Spark.
yeah.
An aggregator.
Well, I don't know that I ever have really thought about it. Um, I mean, I guess I could work with an aggregate. I mean, we do. We make sure that we're going to make sure that while we're dropping it on Amazon right now, this week it'll be dropped on Nook, and making sure that it's available for all platforms, like just EPUB in general.
Hmm.
But I don't usually do it really wide. I usually target kind of specifically. So, oh, you have not missed the whole thing, JC. We're
You have
still
not missed the
going.
whole thing. We're still going, at least for the next 10 minutes.
At least for 10 minutes or so. We still have to do our art though. So, but I do want to go ahead. We should probably do that, but I do want to go ahead and drop the link again for. Here is the link for the pre order. Here's the link for the pre order. And then if you want to be, JC, I was telling others, I got behind because I got sick. Books 1 and 2 are not fully finished on their second edition.
No.
But
This
they
is
will be
great.
soon.
You always have the best questions, JL.
No,
Like,
JL,
for
yeah,
real.
keep asking. Love
Keep
your
asking.
questions.
Love your questions.
On every stream, you have great questions. And I'm always like, I never thought about asking that before. And I've been doing this for years. But yeah, but there are the links for book 1 and 2 as well. There's a link for the sign up sheet. I
Hmm.
intend to have that done reasonably quickly to get them over to Sako so Sako can get them
Format.
formatted to look the same, so we have consistency through the series. But I'm not rushing because I don't. Well, I'm rushing, but I'm not rushing Sako on doing that. So as her schedule allows, those will get rolled out, and so I will email everyone and let
Hmm.
you know when those are live with the new additions because it has bonus material and there are substantial not changes to the story, but there are substantial changes to the point of view, how it's written, and things of that nature. So
Yeah. You've been doing this for years. Yeah.
I don't know, JL. Well, I don't know. We might be near each other in age.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, yes.
Um,
So I want to share our art. So Sako and I had this. Sako is, of course, you all know, an amazing professional artist, and you should hire her for everything. And so she decided she wanted to draw some of our characters because she's inspired. We, of course, had mood boards. We had pinned a Pinterest board. We had all this stuff where we wanted. God, I love that. Where we
yeah,
wanted
we'll
to.
we'll compare art. Uh, I wanted to talk about each of these characters. a little bit and why they are drawn the way they are.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Um,
we wanted to, she wanted to draw it. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be funny since I like to draw, but I'm not that great at it, if I took a stab at drawing our characters too, and then we could put them side by side and been
yeah.
like, this is why you should hire a professional artist if you want character art. Um, yeah. So kind of a thing. But also, I want Sako to speak artistically as to the style that she selected for what is the official art, um, and like the characters themselves.
Yeah. So, you notice I have kind of like a specific style that I used.
Hmm.
Um,
I know who that is.
yes. Um, I did this in Procreate. Yes. Okay. So let's let's talk about
Characters.
characters. This is Belial. He has taken a, a run of the mill lawyer, as it were, and it's
Possessed him.
and possessed him. The skin is very ill fitting, and he is also a what is called a hollow man, which basically means that he is basically a sack filled with insects.
Hmm. So,
And I wanted it to look uncomfortable, and I wanted it to look like there were things writhing under his skin anyway.
yeah. So for those that aren't up on like celestial and infernal uh, archetypes and mythologies and things like that, Belial is essentially a an insectoid demon, um, of filth for the most part.
Hmm.
And so when he chooses to walk the earth, he always possesses some poor schmuck, because that's the most violent thing you can do, and turns him into basically a hollow man, a writhing sack of insects in order to do his mortal earthly needs, like fulfill those.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like the skin is just going to slide right off of him, JL, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Um, Next, we have Jerry, who is a officer of the law.
She's a legit LAPD detective.
Yep. She is forever in search of her missing daughter.
Normal mortal.
Yep, normal mortal. You kind of notice I did shadow and highlight very much so on these characters. Um, it, I don't normally use this kind of style when I'm um, doing character portraits. It was an experiment, and I think it worked out all right.
I like it. I like it. I think it's nice.
Um, she is basically Daisaku's partner when it comes to like missing children or children who are in uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Foster or
No,
kids who are in
in
danger, trouble. Or
trouble,
yeah,
like troubled teens and stuff like that.
yeah, that are legally in trouble, like in trouble with the law. So essentially, Jerry kind of is his informant,
Hmm.
from the police. She passes him the cases that just don't seem, they seem kind of surreal or a little freaky. Like,
Or they're slipping through the cracks, and
or
that
yeah,
drives Jerry up the
yeah,
wall.
yeah, cases that slip through the cracks. just that drives her up the wall. So the main character Daisaku is a magical bounty hunter, but he also handles regular bounty hunting as well.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he works kind of like a PI a little bit and
A little
helps her gather stuff and track stuff down and kind of helps support her in her LAPD role.
bit. Yeah.
And when it comes to missing kid cases, she has him collect info on those a lot because the missing kid cases are really they're her heartstrings kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
So that's Jerry Shaw. Justicia Torres. She is our second POV, the teenager who our bounty hunter cannot decide whether she is a thrall to a demon, which is kind of a big no no in the magical world, or if she comes by her magical skills honestly. Um, she is full of attitude. She has a spark that, um,
pun intended.
pun intended, um, that Daisaku kind of has trouble navigating, which is one of the reasons why he's so suspicious of her. Um, I and she just wants to be with her family like that,
And smash the patriarchy.
and smash the patriarchy, and like, whoa, I did not realize that was a thing I could
I
do.
didn't know you could do that either. That
Oh,
is so cool.
I guess that's a thing I can do now. Um, so that is Justicia Torres. She her mother passed away when she was born,
Well,
and
shortly after.
shortly after, and her father is surviving and is basically the last of her family.
Yeah.
So she is particularly close with her dad.
And yes, she has a very strong personality, JL. You will get it very quickly in the story. Even when it's not directly from her point of view, you get her personality loud
You
and
get
clear.
her personality, yeah. Um,
And the story really centers around Justicia. Even though Daisaku takes a predominant role as the main character
mhm,
during at least the first part of the story, especially
especially.
the story is about Justicia and what she's going through. So she is the core of the story.
Yeah.
Everything else is a subplot that revolves around her.
Oh.
Can you guys all hear that in my background?
I hear nothing in your background.
Thank goodness. Okay, because I can just slightly hear where my wife is watching YouTube.
Oh,
It clearly in the living room, because if she were in her office, I wouldn't hear a damn thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But she's probably eating her bacon that she did not bring me any.
Oh. Ah. Kyler.
My
Kyler is
fave.
our clairvoyant.
There also are non-binary
Yep,
character.
yep. Um, I feel like a lot of Kyler was influenced by a mixture of this TikTok character, um, who is absolutely fabulous, and a little bit by Sage, just a little bit,
A little bit.
and um, and we I feel like their personality was um, was established very early,
Oh yeah.
and
We knew Kyler. Their voice was loud and came screaming through loud and clear. Like
yeah,
the first scene with them having the vision. No. Actually, the first scene I think we wrote was them interacting with Daisaku,
Yes.
telling Daisaku about the vision,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, oh yeah, this is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on to find that TikTok personality and was like, well, this is IRL who we wrote.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so Sako did an amazing job here of being very androgynous with Kyler, which is that's how they roll. Sometimes they lean a little more one way or the other, but that's pretty much how they roll.
Mm-hmm.
And was very true to our original descriptions of Kyler and stuff like that. I Darling, he loves Darling
Mm-hmm.
JL, or they love. I'm sorry,
They
they
love
love Darling. But yes, honey,
honey.
darling. Oh
Sweetie,
dear,
darling, darling,
yeah,
sweetie.
darling, dear, honey pot. Like very has a very glam 40s, loves glam 40s Hollywood and stuff
Yeah.
like that, with a little bit of like funky here and there kind of a thing, but also just likes pushing boundaries. So I went ahead and drew Kyler, but I drew Kyler after I'd been slightly influenced by the TikTok personality, which, if anyone wants to know who that is, their name is Shining Nathan. So you can find them on, but I cannot. Hi, bye.
Uh, that's not what was supposed
That's
to
not what I wanted
happen.
to do. Um,
How do
but yeah,
I solo you?
go to my dots, or there should be a little, but like down on my little box down at the bottom, on the right, no, left hand corner, upper corner, it should have a like make full screen.
Solo layout.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, on the layout. Yeah, sorry. So this is what I came up with
Woo!
for Kyler. But again, this is very much inspired by the TikTok
Our
personality, because I cannot hear Kyler not speak like this person now in my head.
mm-hmm.
Also, I'm bad at proportions, y'all. So teeny tiny little hand there for this person. But yeah, so that's what I did.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually very happy with this one. Thank you, Devin.
Oh,
You went and
thank you,
found
Devin.
them for me. They're amazing and very positive and just funny AF. Like, just love them. But so that was what I did. So again, hire a professional, because proportions are going to be correct first of all. I plan on totally sending this in to Shining Nathan, by the way, and being
Yes.
like, "Hey, just letting you know, this is how I now forever see one of my characters in my book, in a
Yeah.
book, kind of a thing." And I decided to draw you,
Yeah.
so I think they'll be touched.
Nurse Gerard.
I
How
loved.
much do we reveal about Nurse Gerard?
Nurse Gerard is pivotal in the story for adding a different perspective,
Mm-hmm.
giving Justicia a different perspective and guiding her on a certain path. Whether that's good or bad, we're not going to give up. But I loved that we took a drop-in character for like a transition scene, and took a drop-in character and actually molded them into some
Into a
another,
more serious position.
yeah, into a more serious position. We took a lot of just mentionable characters and either molded them into something really substantial for the story, or something that we can really build off later, which I love. So, we can't say too much about
We
Nurse
can't
Gerard.
say too much about Nurse Gerard. That would be spoilers for the book. But if you are interested in why she's so important, then
Go get
please do be pre-ordering Flambeau.
it.
Christopher St. Todd.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
but we can. I'm pretty sure we could say bad guy.
um,
Sort of. Sort of.
sorta. He has his own priorities.
He has his white savior complex.
Mm-hmm.
So, to him, his ends justify his means. So he's kind of ambiguous a little bit. He's gray. He's morally gray.
He is morally gray. Morally gray with white savior syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
but I love the Captain America that you captured
mm-hmm.
with him. He's
And
just
he should
very
have a
clean cut.
little Captain America sort of vibe about him,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it harder to consider him a villain, I think.
You and I think I think we did a really good job of kind of at least hinting to what he feels like. Um, why he feels like his ends justify his means.
Mm-hmm.
And we may expand him out
Again,
more later.
again, spoilers for the book for sure.
Yeah, too much more and we give away way too much.
So that is where is Daisaku?
I don't know. I mean, you've drawn him, but is he not in this folder?
He is not in this folder.
I did not share my Justicia. Let's bring yours back up real quick. Let's
Okay.
bring Justicia up. Okay, so her Justicia way better than my Justicia. One, I'm not very good at doing full body, and for some reason I decided to try to do full body. Um, I drew and redrew and drew and redrew my
Whee!
Justicia. Um, yeah, I'm not good with proportion. Again, hence why you should totally hire a professional artist. However, I was very happy with her flames around her hand. I
Yeah.
was like, those look cool.
Whee!
Everything else, not so much. I was
That
not I was not unhappy with her profile of her face.
bodies are hard.
Bodies are hard, y'all. They really are. But yeah, I wasn't unhappy with her profile of her face, but given the fact that I don't like to draw faces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I loved her fire. I was like, that's a cool
Yeah.
effect. But yeah, so again, back to hers,
Mm-hmm.
where you should totally hire a professional. But yeah.
Which is funny because I pictured her with the curly hair and then I drew her with straight hair anyway.
Sometimes it's in the moment.
It's in the moment. I think I decided she should have curly hair after I drew this.
Probably. But yeah.
Eating chocolate.
Your
Again.
Daisaku is definitely better than what mine is. I'm not unhappy with mine, but yours is definitely better.
If nothing else, I have the serious portrait
That one, yeah.
that I did of Daisaku.
Way better than mine, y'all.
This is what I do when I'm trying to do realism. I did it in watercolor.
So
I
I'm just
I
gonna I'm just gonna
tried to do justice to him.
yeah. I love the hint of the red to the eye and it's not easy drawing ethnic faces.
It's really not.
It's really not. And I have found that, especially when trying to draw Asian character or Asian personalities or people, it's very easy to kind of turn them into a character or a character.
A caricature.
Yeah, rather than drawing them very realistically.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just beautiful.
No, thank you, JC. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful. So, um, keep that in your mind, y'all. Why you should buy, there you go, why you should buy or get a professional versus not a professional.
More little hands.
Yeah, more little hands. For some reason, bad at proportions, but more little hands. I still do like the fire that I put around his
I still
hands,
do
though.
like the fire.
I'm not unhappy with my hand. Hands are hard.
Hands are hard.
Yeah, I'm not unhappy with the
You can
hand.
tell I
It's
struggled
just tiny.
a little bit with my hands in these
Hands are hard.
printers.
Hands, feet, they're hard. Faces are hard too, but um, like I like drawing ears for some reason. So
I
I'll
like
make
drawing ears.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah. So again, this versus that right there. That is why you hire a professional.
Yeah.
And that print is I'm getting it somewhere. It's gonna go on a wall in here
I
somewhere.
am hoping to do something
Yeah.
similar. Yeah. I'll send you a high res version.
Thank you. Okay.
Um,
All right, JC. Yeah. It's not bad. For self-teaching myself, the fact that I couldn't even draw stick figures 2 years ago, it's not bad. It's not. And there are some things I can draw exceptionally well. I just can't quite draw to certain concepts yet. Like, and I'm just not that great at faces yet and proportions yet. I'll get
yeah.
there eventually.
It'll
Or
happen.
I'll never get there and figure out how to make that my style.
Right on.
Because that's what artists do. I
Yes.
can't
Yes,
can't master
they
that well. Let's just make that my style.
Well, we are 15 minutes over the 2 hour mark, which was kind of like my goal to wrap up
Yes.
at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I know you have stuff. You got more
And
stuff to do.
I have Mage the Ascension recording to accomplish come 2 o'clock.
Yes.
So I'm going to scratch my nose and thank you all for joining us today. If you liked this video at any point, I encourage you to hit that like button and maybe even hit subscribe on the off chance that, Facebook, or not Facebook, but YouTube will notify, well, that's the same thing these days, isn't it? Will notify you when whether I go live or post a video, and subscribe to BC Brown as to when she goes live and when she posts a video, which she posts like marketing advice and storytelling advice and stuff like that. So a wealth of knowledge.
Between our channels, definitely.
Mm-hmm. There will be BC original art everywhere.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Can't wait to get her copy. Thank you so much, Eva. Have an amazing rest of your day. We will. Is there anything that you would like to add before we sign off?
No, except, like, I want to say thanks to everybody. You followed us through this process. You've helped us with it. You've contributed to it. You've gone with us, like, through every step of the creative process, the marketing process so far, everything. But I do want to say that you, Sako, are amazing.
Oh.
Like, you have been this has been the best experience, and I think it's because you have been so amazing at, like I said, I know you don't feel it, but I feel like you have done so much more work than I have.
No.
But I know you don't feel it, and I appreciate that, and that makes me feel a little better. But you have
I
done
feel like
so much
you
work.
ended up in the hospital because you overworked yourself, honey.
No. I have a chronic condition.
I know.
Sometimes it gets real bad, and it gets real bad for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, no, it had nothing, it was not related to this. So,
Okay.
I probably would have ended up in the hospital regardless.
Okay.
That happens at least once a year for me, it seems like. But yes, but I do have to say thank you, because where I have dropped the ball or have had to, slack off, you have definitely just like swooped in there and been like, yeah, you've been so understanding and so wonderful through the process. Um, I've learned a bunch from you, which is hard
Yay!
for, it's hard to like say I've been writing for so long, but I've learned from you, learned from your process, like how I can do my processes a little different. Um, yeah,
Absolutely. Well said.
yeah. But yeah, so I wanted to thank you, and that's why I was like, you know what, just in this, my world is yours now too, and have fun with it, and you know, we'll keep each other informed on what's going on and keep those folders open and ready to go. So,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to write another book
SD
with you.
Huston.
Is
Thank
it?
you so much. Like, we super appreciate it. And let's throw that link one more time a little further up in the chat. It is available for pre-order right now, this instant.
Yes, it
And
is. Yeah, and books 1 and 2, their rewrites will be available here very soon.
yay!
When you would uh, like those, uh, notified. There is the link for that. Sign up on that form right there, and I will let you know. I just got behind because had to take care of life first.
Life had to happen first.
Yeah. So
And self-care comes before writing.
all the time. If
All the
you if you can't love yourself enough to take care of yourself first, how can you love and take care of anyone else?
And not just that, but how are you taking care of yourself if you use self-care as a reward? Like, self-care should not be a reward. Self-care should be part of the schedule.
Yeah.
That is something that I've been struggling with for the past 2 years,
Same.
is overcoming this concept that toxic productivity is making it so that um, it used to make it so that I would promise myself I would eat right after I finished this thing, but I never finished that thing, and therefore I never eat. Or I promise myself I will um, finish this thing and then go to sleep, but I never,
Go
I
to
don't go
sleep.
to sleep until like 11 a.m. and, the next day. Or like showering can take upwards to a week, and
Hmm.
like, self-care should be part of the schedule. It should not be a reward
Yeah.
for accomplishing X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, it should be that it should
Oh,
definitely
thank you,
just be there.
SD.
Thank you so much. Yeah, rewards are rewards. I'll get some extra chocolate today if I
Yay!
finish this. I will stop working and take the dog to the dog park instead of just letting
Yeah,
the dog to go out back. Those are
those are
rewards.
rewards.
Yeah, like I will
That,
actually go to the dog park with the dog and play and have fun instead of just letting the dog out.
yeah.
Those are rewards. And showering is definitely part of the creative process.
Yes.
But yeah, so take care of yourself and your writing will get done. We promise.
Yeah.
Promise.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping in. Thank you so much for pre-ordering, and we will catch you guys on the flip side.
Bye bye.